The hard thing that I went through gave me the evidence of what I'm capable of. Because what I see women do is they go through traumas, they go through hard things, and they believe it disqualifies them from abundance, success, love, joy. And
Mhm.
I believe it qualifies them
Yeah,
to be the best mother, the best leader, the
it
best
gives you
guide, the
the
best wife.
evidence. It's like,
Exactly.
gee, you getting in front of you the proof that you are capable, that you already have everything you need to achieve anything that you want. You are choosing not to look at that evidence and pay attention to what you're lacking. But that's on you, girl. That's on you.
Mhm.
Hey, I'm Brooke Jean, therapist, recovering perfectionist, and struggling working mom on a mission to normalize normal. If you're an overwhelmed, high achieving, and secretly anxious mama, struggling to balance it all and on the brink of burnout, you are in the right place. Here is where we talk about hard things like balancing work and family life, mental health, and how to navigate life altering transitions. Nothing is too taboo here. In my conversations, I'll teach you how to let go of who you think you're supposed to be in order to create the life you've always wanted. Get ready to embrace your messy, shed the shoulds, and find freedom through a life unperfected. This is the Unperfected Pod.
Welcome back, Mama. I am so freaking glad you are here. This week's podcast is a special one. I had such a deep and empowering and inspiring conversation with my friend, Claudia Noriega-Bernstein. She is a mother, she is a wife, she is an author of several books. She is an abundance coach. She hosts beautiful retreats for women to transform. And she came from, actually, her background was in acting. She was a kind of famous soap opera actor in South America and became a producer and even wrote a template for young producers on how to be a producer. She also helped produce a show on the Strip in Las Vegas. And so this woman's story, she talks about how at the precious age of 28 years old, with three small children, three under the age of 5, she made a decision to leave her partner and to start the life of her dreams. And how, in the hardest parts of her life, and that part was included, she gained the evidence of what she was made of, what she was capable, which fueled her in her purpose and her power. This queen is simply the signal of love. She embodies love in all she does. She talks about co-parenting with her ex and how she embodied the signal of love, even on the day he died and at his funeral. She talks about how she teaches the signal of love to, she basically just is it, but to her children and beyond. You do not want to miss this conversation because there are so many juicy, bite-sized tidbits that will help you on your journey of becoming. I love her authenticity. I love her heart. I love her humor, her tell it like it is. We have moments where we cry, where we belly laugh. This is a good one. So I hope you guys enjoy. Welcome back to the Unperfected Pod, where we normalize normal and find freedom in a life unperfected. You guys, I'm so excited to have this beautiful essence with us here today. Miss Claudia Noriega-Bernstein. How did I
Yeah.
do that? Claudia, I want to honor your name. I want to honor your soul. Thank you so much for being here today. I can't wait to get into this conversation.
This is great. I'm so happy to be here with you and chat. And we have so many things that we can talk about. So this is going to be so juicy.
Yeah, I want to jump right into what we were just talking about before we hit record, because you have an interesting career journey and you have permission yourself to make changes, to take leaps, to say no, thank you, ma'am, to start again, to get more clarity. And I really want to highlight that. But before we do, will you just give the people, the mamas, a little intro to who you are and what you do, and also your children, how many kids you have and their ages, because the listener
Okay.
is a working mama.
My name is Claudia, and I am an abundance coach. It's funny because every time I say that, people say, "Oh, you're a life coach." I'm like, "No, I'm an abundance coach.
Oh, well,
Don't
we
label
will
me.
share the distinction. Let's share
Don't
that.
label me. I know who I am. Don't try to steer me into what's comfortable for you, right?
Oh.
So I'm like, no, I'm not a life coach. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. I'm going to help you see the abundance in your life, which is
Oh.
different. I was a marketing director for many years. Before that, I was a journalist. Before that, I managed a show in Las Vegas. Before that, I did anything that I could do to support my three girls because I
Oh.
became a single mom when my oldest one was 5.5, my middle one was 2, and my younger one was 11 months old.
Oh my.
And it was a very challenging time in my life,
Yeah.
but it was the best school I could have attended. And I get it. And I
Because
always say this to myself. Sometimes life gives you the lesson, but I'm sorry, give you a test before you learn the lesson. And 100% that was me when I was a single mom, but it was good. Like when I look back, I'm like, I would not have the toolbox I have right now if I would not have the opportunity to go through all that.
can we talk about that for a minute?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Whatever you want to.
Girl, I'm like, tell me the deeds, sister. What happened? Where did baby daddy go? How did you do it? I mean, 3 small children. Wow. Like that's no joke. What happened?
This
Then we'll
was
get it.
my decision. I really had a happy life with my husband. He was my best friend. He was super fun dad, Disneyland dad most of the time. So I found out many years later that I was actually his mother in another life, which made a lot of sense. I was managing his show. We worked together, blah, blah, blah. And I got cancer.
Oh,
And that was a wake up call. And I got cancer February 1998.
wow.
And my daughter was born in April 11, 1997.
So you
Okay.
had a
So
1-year old. You
not
had a
even a
not even
year,
one. Not even
not even
that
a year.
your first baby.
She was
I
at that time was 10 months. And
wow.
then I was staying home because I just had my surgery. And I asked my husband to get me some milk after the show. His car was in the shop and I hear the door. I look outside the window and I saw a 19-year-old sitting in my convertible.
Excuse
And,
me?
and I was like, am I dreaming? Because everything that I felt in that moment didn't match my reality.
Hmm.
So it was, wait, what just happened? So I was in pajamas. I wasn't with makeup. I wasn't with my hair done. I had stitches in my neck. I went downstairs at that time. We had a really good life.
Wow.
And I went downstairs. I talked to my nanny and I said, I will be right back. And she said, where are you going? You're taking pills. You can go anywhere. And I don't like painkillers to begin with. So it wasn't like I was dumped out. I'm pretty good. I had my 3 kids natural. I am pretty good with pain. I know how to breathe. I got into the van because I'm telling you, we're living very comfortable. So I have a little convertible. My husband had a nice car, which was in the shop. And then we had the van for the kids. So I
Mhm.
grabbed the van and I thought, where do I go? Where can he be right now with this person? He's not going back to the strip. And I had a million things going on in my
Wait, so
head
you
because
saw them in the car, but then they went somewhere? Is that what you're saying? I
he
thought
brought me the milk with the girl in the car. Very responsible for bringing me
no.
the milk. But you know what? I think he
Wow.
didn't realize that I was going to be awake. And he
Oh.
probably went and bought the milk and he didn't want to forget the milk or whatever. So he just went and bought the milk and probably told the girl, I need to make a stop.
Oh my god. Okay.
So
So you were
uh,
gonna go find him in your van.
I went in my mommy van. I went to the office. We had an office in an apartment building. And I talk a little bit about this, not in detail with Siri, but I'm going to explain it to you in a short version. So I got there and I saw the car park outside. And the office was in an apartment complex. So it has the garage underneath and you have to go up the steps. So I saw my car there and I decided, you know what? I am going to go and park the van in the grocery store in the corner and I'm coming back for my car. It was like an ownership thing. That's my effing
It's
car. I'm
It's
taking my car back.
hell
Right.
yeah.
It
Yeah.
was like, you keep whoever you have right now, but this is my car. It
Yeah.
was, I don't know what
Convert.
happening in my brain at that moment, but I had to take the freaking car. I parked the van in the parking lot and I'm start walking. Mind you, I'm halfway in pajamas. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm walking back and it start raining.
Oh boy.
So I am soaking wet. My hair is sticking to my face. I'm practically see through. I get there. I said, I don't care. I need to see it with my eyes because what I just saw through my kid's window cannot be true. He probably went and dropped her, give her a ride, million excuses in my head. I opened the door. I went up the steps because I have the key. We work together. I have the key. And I went to the second floor and I could hear them. I could hear them as soon as I got to the second floor. And I was like,
Oh my God. My heart
how
is racing
is
for you.
this? You know what I thought, Brooke? Is this enough for me?
Mm.
Is this enough for me to believe that this is happening?
Mm.
And I told you, I work in marketing many years. I'm an artist too. I paint, I do sculpting. I'm very visual and I had to see it.
Yeah.
As painful and as detrimental that would have been
Yeah.
for anybody and for me too, I needed to see it. So I stood at the door and in that moment I didn't think, oh my God, I don't look pretty. No. So I stood at the door and I don't know from where I got some courage and I step around and I was right on the frame of the door and they were in bed. And this gorgeous girl, beautiful girl with the most amazing hair. And I don't know why I always remember that because it was like a slow motion kind of thing when she turned around, you
Oh
know,
my God.
over her shoulder and asked him, who is that?
Oh
And
my.
the answer that he gave her was what changed my life. He said, that's my wife. And I thought to myself in that moment, no, I'm not.
Mm.
It
Mm.
can't be. I can't be your wife because
Mm.
what I thought I was
Mm.
and what that I am your wife meant
Mm.
didn't match what I was looking at.
Yeah.
So not only I am not your wife, but you are not my husband, my partner, my friend, my companion,
My safety net, my
you
ride or
are
die.
nothing of what I thought
Oh my
you
God.
could be.
This is pure devastation.
And I didn't answer to what he said. She never moved from top of him, by the way. She stays sitting there where
Oh,
we're having this exchange of titles.
are you
Okay?
kidding me?
She just wasn't looking at me anymore.
She was
Uh,
probably frozen too. What in the actual
right.
hell?
You go to a show, the entertainer asks you to go backstage. You have this gorgeous man. He was very good looking,
Mm.
taking you out for a drink, and now you're sitting on him. And
Why? Yeah. Wow.
so
So what for you? Huh?
after we drop milk,
Oh my,
right?
can't forget
I
that
said,
detail.
so I said to him, you can come and pick up your stuff tomorrow.
Oh wow. Okay.
In that moment, no thinking, no sleeping on it, nothing. And I turned around, took my car,
Yes, you did.
and went home.
Wow.
And I was like, I think, in a state of shock for many hours.
Of
Like
course.
I keep repeating my life in my head. And then I keep going to my kids' room and thinking, how could he do this? Am I not enough? Are
Mm.
my kids not enough? Is our life not enough? And I was like in a really weird place emotionally. If God forbid something like that would happen to me right now, I know my worth. It has nothing to do with the size of my house. I am who I am in one bedroom apartment in a room in Costa Rica or in a 10,000 square foot mansion. I don't care. This is who I am. And that essence comes with me everywhere. The rest are circumstances. But at that moment, I was very young and I didn't know half of the things I know about myself now. Like now, I like myself.
Hell
I
yeah.
can be with myself. I don't need anybody else. I have a husband because I choose to have a husband that I love and that he loves me back. But I am who I am with or without him. It doesn't alter how I perceive myself.
Nice.
But I wasn't that.
No. Because how old were you?
I was 28.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was 28. And it took 2 years of this. So I got divorced when I was in my 30, 31 or something. The first 2 years were horrible. After that, we became the closest friends because we were always friends. And I came to understand why he did. I took responsibility for the red flags that I didn't see. We both say I'm sorry to each other. And we became very good friends to the point that I was his roommate at some point because I was in between places and I stayed with him. And my kids never had to choose. My kids always saw their parents being friends and having them as a priority. But that's how this journey of finding who I was meant to be started.
Wow.
And I made it a bucket list to an extent. I want to go to Paris with my daughters and I want to find out who I am. And one day I want to surf in Costa Rica. They were just check marks for me.
Okay.
It was important for me. I
Yeah.
wanted to find out who I was and I wanted to find out my purpose and I wanted to find out why I had to go through this experience. What's the point? Okay, God.
Mm-hmm.
So awesome. Very well staged. Kudos to you. Now, what this is for.
Yeah. Hold on. So did you already have all three of your kids when you caught him cheating? Okay, I'm sorry. I thought you just had your first one. You had three little babies. Your littlest one was 10 months old. You have three kids and you find this. And you said, pack your shit and go. And that was it. He did. And he,
I said, no, come back tomorrow for your stuff.
yes.
I'll pack his stuff.
And
I
that was
packed
it.
everything.
And you really did. And did he come get it and go?
Came the next day. He told me that I was crazy. He told me that is just sex. He told me a lot of things that it didn't make any sense to me. Probably it will make sense now because I understand men differently now or better.
Mhm.
But at that time, I like when you hear Snoopy, wah wah, that's what I was listening to. I
Okay,
was
but
like,
how the hell did you have that kind of that's something special about you though, Claudia, because how did you have that kind of clarity and strength at 28 when you're that vulnerable, just having cancer, having surgery, having three babies? How did you have that knowing?
I
'Cause
didn't know. Let me tell you this, my dad was a very wise man. And my dad, and I say was because he passed away 2 days before my first daughter was born. I found out when I called.
Right.
But we had an amazingly beautiful relationship. He was very generous with his, I don't know if this is a word, but with his wiseness, he was very
Yeah,
wise.
wisdom.
Um,
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
his wisdom, there you go.
Same damn thing. I'm with you.
And then, so he used to say to me, you don't always have to know what you want,
Okay.
as long as you know what you don't want.
Mm.
And I had no idea what I wanted. I have no clue how I was going to do this. I had no plan, but I knew what I didn't want.
Woof.
And there were moments in the first 3 months after that because I stayed in the house until we sold the house. So I stayed 3 months there. In the next 3 months, I tried to figure it out how I was going to do this and how I was going to do that. And I had a huge closet with a lot of purses and a lot of shoes and a lot of very nice things.
Mhm.
So I made a decision that I was going to take time for myself. And I said, all this luxury is going to give me the luxury of not working for as
Mm.
long as I can stay home with my girls
Yeah.
and help them with this transition.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I'm okay, they're going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I start selling my stuff
Mm.
to pay bills. I didn't go to work for a whole year
Mm-hmm.
until I didn't have anything else to sell.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't ask for help because I was too proud. My ego was driving with me in the front seat all the time and telling me where to turn and how to go straight. So I didn't want anybody to help me. I didn't tell anybody. I did everything myself. There was no social media, so nobody needed to know anything. And I just lived my days with a very conscientious budget without my girls knowing there was a conscientious budget. They just felt this is great. Mom get to be with us and she doesn't need to go to work. And
Yeah.
also because Sophia was so little that I needed to stay home more because I didn't want to put her in a daycare. I didn't want to put her anywhere. I
Mm.
needed to be with my kid. And then the first 2 years were a lot of transitions because visitation and this and that, and he wasn't happy with me doing that, going through the divorce or filing for divorce. So he made it really hard at the beginning. He would not pay child support, and he wanted me to come back, and he said it to me 1,000 times. Why are you doing this? Just come back. And I was like, this is not up for discussion. I already made a decision. And I was very close minded about what I wanted, and I didn't want to talk to him. I was angry at him. I was disappointed. I It took me a minute to I'm no Dalai Lama. It took me a minute. Okay. I was like, don't talk to me, talk to the hand.
I'm still
So,
in my rage 2 years later, and rightfully absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I'm not okay.
Yeah.
But I did made a commitment with myself. I have a ground rules for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to talk crap about my ex husband to my kids. I'm going to teach my kids to love and respect their father. I'm not going to make my kids feel that whatever we're going through is their fault or they are a weight for me or whatever. So I have those ground rules, and I had to remind myself because there were times that I wanted to turn around and say, he would be giving us child support. We wouldn't have to sell my new shoes or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yes.
I was very loyal to my ground rules. I was very disciplined about it because I knew what I wanted to give to them. And I wanted to give them a happy life. I had, I come from divorced parents. So I hear the narrative when I was little. And I didn't want that for them.
Mm-hmm.
And when he realized that this was not coming back, that this was it, he
Truly
was
over.
very much on board. And we co-parent amazingly until he died.
He died.
He died 5 years ago.
Wow.
He died 5 years ago. And at that time, we were very good friends. He used to come to my house. He used to live 2 blocks away from us. My husband and him were friends.
Oh
My
my.
kids were thrilled to, they will come here sometimes and find her dad in the kitchen asking me to make him a coffee and me reminding him that I was not his wife anymore and he could do his coffee himself. You know?
I can feel it though. I love the dynamic. I
Yeah.
love that. Oh my God. But that's really hard too, right? Did that kick up a whole nother wave of grief for you?
Mm, yes and no. I miss him.
Yeah. Yeah.
I miss him.
Yeah.
He was part of my life for 33 years.
Wow.
Our oldest daughter just turned 31.
Oh my God.
And you know what? I'm going to tell you, when he passed away, me grieving him probably was the best gift I could give to my girls
Yeah. Yeah.
because they were not alone in the pain.
That's right.
They
That's
felt mom is sad. My kid will come and say, it's okay, mom.
oh.
It's okay. You know, when we were in the hospital and he was in coma, I was involved in everything, not because I make myself involved, but because my kids will say, Mom, come here. Let's talk to the doctor. What do you think, mom? What do you think we should do?
Wow.
And there were two wives in between. I was the first one, but there were two other wives in between. And my kids were like, Mom, let's sit down and let's figure this out. Whatever you think we should do, that's what we would do.
Wow.
So there is that level of trust that not only we trust mom, but we trust that she's gonna make the best choice for him too. She's gonna tell us what's the best thing for us to do. And we are together in this, like we always been together. And that's what they said in the celebration of life. My parents got divorced when oldest daughter said, my parents got divorced when I was 5.5 years old, but we never stopped being a family.
Mm.
And in the celebration of life, my kids wanted me front and center. And it was the speech was involving my husband and involving him and involving us as a family. It was a celebration of his life.
Yeah. With the key people in his life.
Right.
Right.
But you get to choose that.
Yeah.
You get to choose who do you want in your tribe.
Yeah.
And if you're going to allow the opinion of other people, I remember there was somebody that used to work with us when we were doing shows together that came and to the funeral, and she turned around and said a couple of things to my kids that were out of line about their dad. And I stopped her right there. I said, you are not to say anything negative about him to my kids. That's your opinion. Keep it to yourself. You're not going to be on my side because you're talking bad about my ex-husband. That's not the dynamic. It might be the dynamic for other people that are divorced. It's not my dynamic. This is not what I am sowing.
Yeah.
I want beautiful flowers. I don't want wheat.
Yeah.
I don't want my kids to feel their files of memories of bad things that their dad did. They're going to find that out on their own. But you don't get to come to the celebration of life to say something about my ex-husband thinking that you're supporting me. And I don't think she did it with malice. I don't think she did it because she wanted to say something bad about him. I think she wanted to be supportive to me. Oh, your mom was so great. She put up with so much. I'm like, I'm
You're
sorry,
like,
what?
no, that's not what, that's not what we're doing
That's
here.
not the story.
Yeah, that's
That's
not my
not the story.
narrative. That's not
Yeah.
my narrative.
And since that day, since I got divorced, it was a journey of learning, a journey of growing, a journey of making each day the best day. And there were some really difficult days, but somehow they worked out. And now I am in a total different place. My kids are 27, 28, and 31.
Oh my God.
My daughter got married last year, and I had a hologram of her dad singing for her first dance.
I can't.
That was something. Yeah.
Oh.
And he was the number one Elvis stylist in the world, so he sang "Love Me Tender" for her on a hologram.
Wait, he was
And
one what?
he was what? I'm sorry?
Was the number one what?
Elvis stylist in the world.
Elvis stylist?
Yeah. It was like an Elvis impersonator, but he had his own way. And the Elvis stage recognizes him. I'm sorry?
Was that his show?
Yeah, he had a show at the Hilton when Elvis had it. We started with a different show at the Riviera Hotel. It doesn't even exist now. Imagine like 33 years ago, whatever. He was very well respected by other entertainers. There is never a place that we go and somebody will come to my girls and say, "You're Trent's daughter."
Oh.
And then the kids will go, "That's my dad." And they have that pride.
Yeah.
They have this admiration, and they're like so grateful that memory was never tarnished, that they never had to choose, that there was no yucky stuff that they have to deal with. If we are if I'm in the car, first of all, he's around all the time. If I'm in the car and a song comes out, imagine he was an Elvis stylist, so we had our songs, right? So he will see the radio comes up with something, I will take a picture of my radio and I will send it to my kids, and my kids will heart it. And I'm like, oh, mom, that's dad. I'm so happy he's with you right now. That's what I ambition. That was my 3D printing of the
Yes.
moment. We get to have that because you get to have who you are.
Mm,
And I was love, and that's all I wanted to be for them.
mhm.
So
Wow. I feel like everyone in your family is so lucky to have you
you're
stand
so sweet.
standing in that power and standing in that essence of love and remembering how important that is, even when things are crunchy with divorce and co-parenting and all the things that come up with that, remembering
Yeah.
and being the presence of love, like sometimes that's the exact salve that the whole situation needs. And again, like how you even knew it naturally, organically, and intuitively to do that is just beautiful because so
I
many,
didn't like the alternative, Brooke. And
yeah.
I'm going to say this was a teamwork. It
Mhm.
was my husband being part of it. It was my ex husband being part of it. It was the girls receiving. It was all of us working. It wasn't that I just came and told everybody, okay, this is the role each of you are going to play. No, I enrolled them into my vision, and
Yes.
everybody just follow because it was easier to
Uh-huh.
be in love than to be in hate or in anger or in rejection. So
Oh,
it was better, it was
yes.
juicier, it was, I like this, I don't
Mm,
want the drama. And when
yes.
I see, we just lost somebody that is close, not close to me, but close to one of my husband's ex-wife, and you can feel the dysfunction, and everybody wants to be the center of the attention. Everybody, he loved me more. No, the second wife, no, more me. And there is no me. There
Mm,
is no me. There is us. You want to create something. There is no me. And that's the part that we forget.
mm,
You don't need to be the starring role on everybody's story.
mhm,
You can be the starring role in your story. You can be the director, the writer, the producer, the editor, all of the above of your own story. But you don't have to be that of everybody's stories.
mm,
So the minute that you start realizing that and you send that ego to the
mm.
back seat and you say, you know what? Great. Great to know you. Thank you for your tips. I will take it in consideration, but I'm going to make my own decision because this is my vision. Then you can move forward. But
Mm.
there are decisions you have to make along the way. You have to make those decisions along the way. And wasn't every day perfect? No, was not every day perfect. I have a lot of setbacks, and I had a lot of lessons, and I had a lot of days that I got in the shower and cried my eyes out because I didn't know how I was going to make it the next day. And I had a different life when I was in my country, and I had a different life when I was with him. And now I didn't have a lot of things that I used to have, but my self-worth started growing while my self-esteem started declining.
So can we normalize that, right? That might be the first time we're laughing. That might be the first time I've ever even heard that. I feel like people parallel them, right? The self-worth and
No,
self-esteem. And no, like that worth was like solid through the ups and the downs and the spirals and the sideways and the cancer diagnosis and the cancer surviving and the all the shit that comes with children. Wow. Okay,
right.
so now when you look back on that, because you
Hmm.
said some things happen for us when we
Yeah.
choose to see it that way,
Hmm.
which I so subscribe to that is it's all happening for us. What's the opportunity? What's the assignment? What's the lesson? We don't always see it when we're in the middle of the shit. But now as you look back, what was the assignment? What was the lesson? And how did that inform the woman sitting with us today?
For many years, and I still do that sometimes, I like to empower women. That's what I do. I empower women like you do. But I was always backstage.
Mhm.
And I still backstage in a lot of ways now because I my high is to see a woman being successful and empowered and self-sufficient and following her dream. And even if I am from far watching them and I know I had something to do with it, that's my high. I'm like, yes, I'm so happy. I think the difference was that before I didn't believe that I was capable to make that transformation or to offer that transformation. So I hide behind. Now I'm not hiding. I'm staying behind because I don't care for the spotlight.
Mm.
You know, it's
Yeah.
fine with me. I was very lucky to have all that fame and recognition when I was very young in my life. So I don't crave it.
Mhm.
That part of me got fulfilled and that's cool. But I don't hide now because I don't think I'm worthy of and I don't think I am capable to. Okay. I stay backstage because that's what I want to be. I don't even feel I'm belonging there. I probably belong in the front and giving TED shows, TED talks to the world. Maybe that is in my journey at some point in my life. I don't know. It will be fun. But yeah, but I am not staying backstage because of the same reasons I used to stay backstage in the past. So
Mhm.
now I have evidence
Mm.
that I am capable. So when
Yes.
the imposter syndrome sneak in, listen,
Mm.
I had a imposter syndrome 2 days ago. It was so funny, I gotta tell you. So I'm
Okay.
having a retreat on the 20th. I was gonna have a 3-day retreat,
Mhm.
but I broke my foot and I still not well, and I didn't know if I was gonna have a surgery. So I made a decision. I'm not gonna have the 3-day retreat in April,
Mhm.
although I've been working on it for a year, but I'm not. Instead,
Okay.
I'm just gonna have an afternoon, a mini retreat, right?
Okay.
But I am not the kind of person who just goes in front of an audience and just talk to thousands of people. I like intimate groups. That's where I function the best. I like the connection. I want everybody to feel seen and acknowledged. So I choose to have a small group, 10, 12 people. I'm comfortable with that.
Mhm.
We forgot to put a sold out after an amount of people signing in. So now I have 20. And my retreat is on the 20th. I have 20 people. Don't ask me what those numbers mean. But I said to my husband yesterday, I have 20 people. And he goes, that's great. And I go, no, that's too many. That's too many. And he goes, what do you mean? You can say the same thing to 10 or 20. No, they're not going to feel acknowledged. They're going to be 20. And I went back to there because we all do.
Yeah.
And that's when we have to give ourselves grace. You
Mhm.
go to the step one in 5 seconds. And the power is to shift and remind yourself that yes, you've been in the one, in the two, in the three, in the 557, and now you are in the 700 back. And that's cool. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Recognizing that you were at some point in the first one, and then suddenly the escalator become flat and you just slide all the way to the front. And
Yeah.
now you're like, holy crap, I have
What?
20 people. What am I going to do? And I have a sound bath lady coming. So I'm thinking I need to get more yoga mats. But I went in a roller coaster of panic.
Yeah.
I expected 12 people and I have 20 now. And I'm thinking, yeah, I have 20. And then, oh my God, I have 20. I went back and forth and
Yeah.
we all do that. And I have moments like that
Yeah.
my whole life. So I think is the power is in recognizing it and calming yourself and say, you got this, first of all. Okay, whatever stories you're telling yourself right now, they're not valid because you do have evidence that you got this. So get out of the victim place. You poor you have 20 people, and let me smack you right now. What is your issue? You could have three, and I would see you panicking too.
You gotta check it. You're checking it. And that's the building of the, I call that building the muscle, where we just notice when we've fallen off out of alignment back into our old patterns or run by our ego or our child parts. We notice it with love and we just get back in the game. And you
A
build
hundred.
the muscle of coming back into alignment, back into focus, back into your frequency standard. And it's not the people that are always in a perfect
frequency. It's the ones that are really fucking good at getting back in.
100%. And you get it is funny because I went from the childhood response, the trauma response from my childhood where nobody's going to come to my party,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
To crap.
Too many
Now it's
people.
too many people. And then my husband is looking at me like, you're a psycho.
You're like,
What's
if I'm
crazy that no one's gonna
all the
no.
what my head was saying, like my inner child, my inner teenager, my CEO self,
We're having a meeting here, okay?
meeting out loud. Like,
I was like, listen, my 6-year-old, my 15-year-old, my 20-year-old, my 30-year-old, my 40-year-old, my 50-year-old having a meeting right now here, okay?
but that awareness is everything.
I know.
Like that
Yeah.
awareness is the magic carpet ride to living a beautiful and intentional life.
You know what I compare it with? I love to surf.
You do?
I love
You
to
surf?
Yeah.
Damn, I'm impressed by that. That is
You
not
know,
easy.
it's so funny because people look at me and they have a clue because they look at me. First of all, I'm a Latin girl. I speak a bunch of languages. I surf and I play the drums. And they look at me like, wait, what?
Who is this queen?
Who are you? And what are you doing here?
Oh,
So-
and I sculpt, and I'm an abundance coach, and I hope
and I write books for children to teach parents how to
write
them so they don't get the traumas that I had coming up. Okay.
I love it. But you
I-
were saying like surfing.
But I compare that when I'm surfing because when you surf,
yeah,
you see the wave
yeah.
that is forming. So you can, let's use a little bit of analogy, okay? You see the wave that is forming. So you see the problem, right? You see something, you're like, okay, this is what can go wrong here. So that's the forming, the challenge, right? Then you get on top. Although you know that wave can just beat the crap out of you, you get on top of that wave. And then when you're on top of the wave, you have that second of fear because you're like, oh my God, I'm on top of the wave. And then you conquer that wave, right? So you're on top of the wave, you conquer that wave, then you put one leg, then the other one, then you're a ninja on top of that wave. And when you are a ninja on top of that wave, you have that moment, and I have it all the time, of pure excitement and joy, and you're like
Giddy.
Yeah, giddy. The wave, I can't believe it. So you're like, your smile is like, how come nobody's recording me? When you're like, you're on top of that wave, and you can't believe it. When you're like, oh my God.
Pure bliss. Pure
And then
bliss.
something happened, and you're like, okay, what happened? Oh my God. And boom, you fall. Unless you're lucky enough to go all the way to the shore, and that is the best feeling because you just slide and you just go, yes, I did it. Nobody's looking at me. I don't care. I know I did it. I'm okay. It's like you know that there is a chance that something is not going to go the way you want it.
Yeah.
But that's okay because you can handle it. And my daughter the other day, because she is going through treatments to get pregnant, and I went to treatments to get pregnant with her, and she was talking to somebody and she said, yeah, my mom and my mom's life and my life are very parallel. We have gone through a lot of things very similar. And that's okay, she goes, because I know I'm going to be fine. And that, she said it, Brooke, in a very casual way. And it hit me. Wow, that's the best compliment you can give me because I am your billboard. And if you're looking at me and you're saying, she's okay, I'm going to be okay. That is everything to me.
That's everything. That's
because
everything.
I have been in my 20s not even knowing how I was going to feed my kids the day after. And for one of my daughters to look at me and say, yeah, I look at her and I know I'm going to be fine. It's wow.
Wow.
And I didn't say anything to her. I just received that and savor it. And I cry a little inside me. And I'm like quiet and I'm digesting all this. And my life just passed in front of my eyes. And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool.
That's everything.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
That's everything.
Yeah.
There's so much gold here. I feel like what you said earlier is really profound and I want to double click on it, which was that I had evidence. So the hard thing that I went through gave me the evidence of what I'm capable of, because what I see women do is they go through traumas, they go through hard things, and they believe it disqualifies them from abundance, success, love, joy. And
Mm.
I believe it qualifies them
Yeah,
to be the best mother, the best leader, the
it
best
gives you
guide, the
the
best wife.
evidence. It's like,
Exactly.
gee, you getting in front of you the proof that you are capable, that you already have everything you need to achieve anything that you want. You are choosing not to look at that evidence and pay attention to what you're lacking. But that's on you, girl. That's on you.
Mhm. Yes. So can you leave us with, okay, we didn't even get to get into your 16 other careers. Guys, she's a writer, like she's an artist, she's an abundance coach, she hosts retreats. Like, I want to talk more. Maybe we have to have you back on because I want to talk more about how we help people see the good, the enoughness, the gold, the beauty, the abundance, and ways in which that will change their life or techniques. But I also want to make sure that you have a chance to talk about your retreats. So, why don't we? Can you share with us
Mm-hmm.
one thing to consider that can help us see things through the frame of abundance, through the frame of enoughness, that could help us continue to qualify ourselves for what we want in our lives?
I think that we all need to start with being grateful.
Okay.
That's how I start my day. And believe me, I am all for having habits and all that stuff because they help you. But life sometimes leave us and sometimes we live life. So you sometimes fall asleep and can't get up early enough to do your little ritual. Whatever it is that is happening in your life, do it messy and do it at whatever time that you remember. But remember what
Mm.
you do have in your life.
Mm.
Remember. Remember that you're breathing. Remember that you're seeing. Remember that you're walking. Listen, don't even, let's not even go to the accessories, okay, that we have in the life. Ourselves. When you see somebody that doesn't have their five senses and they're achieving goals, what's your excuse?
Mm.
When somebody comes to me and says, I don't know what I'm going to do, I'm getting a divorce and I have one kid, I'm like, I'm sorry, what? Let's sit down for a minute. Let me tell you a story.
Yeah.
Listen, I have college degrees, but I work on a daycare for 1 year because that was the only way I can see my daughter the whole day.
Mm. We find a way.
It didn't make me feel any less of anybody. I could go back to my country and be an actress again. But for me, it was important that my kid has access to to her dad. That was
Mm.
my priority.
Mhm.
So you have to think, what's your why? Okay? First of all, what's your why? And then you manifested what you want based on your why. And then your intention is your how. Who do I need to be to achieve that? I have a very clear avatar of who I am and who I want to be. And for these two avatars to become one, I have to have a strategy. I have to hold myself accountable. I have to set boundaries and I have to keep my eye on the target. And that's it. But
Mm.
that's an inside job.
Mhm.
Nobody can do it for me. I cannot make anybody do anything they don't want to do. My daughter Isabella came one day, and I always talk in my retreats about this example. My daughter Isabella came one day and she said to me, Mommy, there is this kid in school that make me feel stupid. And I said, I want to meet this kid. And she looked at me and she goes, That's rude. Why would you want to meet a kid that makes me feel stupid? And I said, Because that person has to be very powerful to make you feel anything.
Yeah.
No one can make you feel anything. We allow it. And once we allow it, we look for evidence to support that. Everything starts with your thought. Your thought create a feeling, your feeling create a fact, your fact create your reality, and then you keep moving forward. So just stop it at the beginning. Stopping your
Yeah.
thought. You're not responsible for your first thought. Okay. You see somebody that is overweight, and this is going to sound really ugly, okay? But you see somebody that is overweight, and probably your first thought, because this is trauma response from whatever experience you had in your past, you're going to say, why don't you have another fry in your head? But that's a really bad thought, okay? Not nice. You're not responsible for the first thought because it's a response of whatever files you have in your brain. But you're responsible for the second one.
Yes.
You can recognize, okay, that wasn't nice.
Yes.
And then what's going to follow? What's coming after your first thought? What action you're going to take? How kind are you going to be with that person? You don't know their circumstance. You don't know why they're doing that. Your second thought is what you are responsible for. Your first one, you can give him a wave, okay? But your second thought, you are responsible for. So you have to own it. There is no more excuses. Your first one, we're going to give it a pass.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's a trauma response, is whatever beliefs you, limiting beliefs you have, whatever. But then after you have that first thought, you're like, okay, wait a minute. This second thought is not aligned with my avatar. It's not aligned with what I want to be. It's not aligned with my essence. It's not aligned with the best version of myself. So I'm going to choose a different thought that is going to empower me, that is going to motivate me, that is going to make me get closer to that avatar. And I'm going to roll with that. And that's that.
And that is it. That right
is it.
there is the work. That is the
Right.
work to becoming the best version of yourself, to having the life you want, to creating a new reality. And people don't realize, yes, it's work to disrupt your thought and to choose again, but it's work worth doing because it creates a different outcome.
Exactly.
Otherwise,
Exactly.
we are just habitual creatures that repeat the same low energy behaviors and
Right.
therefore create the same bullshit results.
Exactly.
And so this process that you're pointing to is powerful. It's
Yeah.
really powerful. It's really life changing.
Yeah.
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 Okay, you tell us about your retreats and then I'm going to let you off the hook.
Okay. So my retreat is going to be in the fall because I had to move it from the spring to the fall. They can find all the information in my website, claudianoriega-bernstein.com. And they can register there or be in the waiting list, fill up an application, ask me questions, whatever they need to know. It's going to be here in Las Vegas, 3 days. And I'm super excited. I'm not going to have 20 people because I'm going to make sure that I stop it shorter because I think it's really important to have this one-on-one, and having less people allow me to, because I give them breaks and I give them time to journal, and then I go and talk to them and what they're struggling with, where are they stuck, and let me give you a couple of tips so you can go to the next level and the next steps. It's very powerful to see the sisterhood. It's very powerful to see how really we can only fly and we embrace each other. It's as simple as that. And when we realize that, then we're open. They were open for collaboration. They were open to receive. They were open to embrace somebody else.
Yes. Okay, that sounds magical and it sounds, don't sleep on it since there's only 12 spots. And we'll link all your juicy deets in the show notes for sure.
Thank you.
I
Thank
want to
you.
come. I
Come.
want to come. That sounds magical. And I love stuff like that.
Yeah, me
Anything
too.
like personal development with women, like sign me up over and over.
And I do little ones, like meaning like this one is going to be discovery and breakthrough. Then I'm going to do another for abundance. Then I'm going to do I do little ones like afternoon or a day. So then if people cannot have 3 days, they want to come for a weekend to Las Vegas. And then, you know what, I'm going to do one afternoon, I'm in a retreat, and then I'm going to go to a show. And the next day I'm going to the casino. That's cool. You plan a getaway. And when your husband or your partner, or even if you want to come along or with a friend, whatever, are doing something else, then you are growing.
Yeah. That is a productive Vegas trip right there.
There you go. You're going to win no matter what.
You're going to win. I love it. Claudia, thank you so much for sharing your energy with us today. Like, I just see the light in you, and I want you to know that, like, your essence and your love, it's just strong. And I
Thank
felt
you.
it immediately. And I just want to know more and more about you. And just know that just by being, you ignite the light in others, you inspire people. And so thank you for taking your time to be here today.
Thank you. It's been great. And I'm so sorry it took us so long.
It really wasn't. It really wasn't so long. All right. To the mamas who are listening, make sure that you go and check out Miss Claudia and all the amazing things that she's doing. And we'll see you same time, same place next week. Bye for now. Hey, mama, if you made it to the end of this episode, I just want to virtually high five you because you've said yes to the opportunity of taking better care of yourself. And that is so meaningful and so amazing. You have no idea the ripple of goodness that's to come. If you've been enjoying the show, if you've been finding it helpful, if you've laughed a little or learned a new technique, will you do me a favor? Will you make sure that you're following the show, that you've given us a 5-star rating and left a review? That will absolutely help us get this podcast into more heads and hearts of as many mamas as possible. Because when we heal the mother, we heal the world. Also, if there's a specific episode that you've loved, will you make sure to share it with a friend? Just send them the link or share it on social media and make sure you tag me at Brooke Jean Unperfected, because I absolutely love seeing that this is actually giving you the impact that you so desire and deserve. Thank you so much, mamas. Make sure you're taking care of yourselves and therefore each other.